The WWE WrestleMania main event has been confirmed. An NXT star makes their TNA return, and a major debut was set for next week's SmackDown. Stay tuned for all the wrestling news. Last night's SmackDown saw confirmation of what will be the main event of WrestleMania 41's Night 1. It seems it's going to be the Night 1 main event because we know that the main event of Night 2 will very likely be Cody Rhodes and John Cena. You just don't...
it doesn't really get any bigger than that, does it?
It doesn't get any bigger than that. But Night's 1 main event is certainly quite big, as it is. Of course, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns all signed the contract to their match on last night's SmackDown. I thought the segment was great. I thought the crowd was really into it. Roman comes out first. It took a ridiculously long time for him to get to the ring.
Yeah, they're all chanting Roman Reigns to the tune of Daddy Cool.
Daddy Cool.
And it just went on and on and on. And even Paul Heyman joined in.
Paul Heyman was terrific. I mean, he is always been great, but the moment that Reigns held the
screw
mic,
the This Is the Dance, screw all of the big Heyman moments from ECW. Fraser Porter is saying that this is the greatest
thing that Heyman has ever done. Full stop. It was just a fantastic segment all around on their part. Reigns looked like he was having a lot of fun being cheered. Bear in mind, the last time he was in this arena, he was called a wanker by the audience.
Yeah. Has he been to Turkey for his teeth?
I think that happened a long time ago. I think he's just had a nice steel and polish.
Yeah, they were nuclearly bright.
So he had that moment with the crowd. Seth comes out. He then he's talking about how they don't want to have this parasite in the WWE that is CM Punk. As Roman let the snake into the garden when they should have cut its head off.
Is he Jake now? What's he doing?
Yeah, he's Jake the Snake Roberts. They've got the Legends deal with him as well. Punk comes out next. Again, massive pop. Crowd is loving seeing CM Punk. He comes out and he scours the contract that is in front of him.
Yeah, he won't just sign it. He's got to flick through 2 or 3 pages. He's very legally sound, is Mr. Chick Magnet.
Is he the smartest wrestler there? Because most of them don't look at the actual
it could
fine
say
print.
anything. It could say you're not getting any money at the very end, but they all just sign it.
They all sign it. But before he can actually find what he's looking for, Paul Heyman leaves the side of Roman Reigns and says, I know what you're looking for, and it's in there. You're closing the show at WrestleMania Night 1. And it was a great moment because CM Punk, you can see the emotion that starts to come over.
Well, it's all he's ever wanted. It's the boyhood dream coming true. CM Punk gets to be in the main event of WrestleMania.
He does, and it was. You could see it was real emotion from Punk there. He's finally getting that thing that he's worked for 20 years that he's always wanted, is the WrestleMania main event.
And Seth was seething about the whole thing.
Seth was pissed off, man. This man looked fuming that he was involved in allowing CM Punk to have this main event, but Punk gets down on his knees and thanks the tribal chief. He was really nice to Roman actually in that moment.
Roman insinuates that this was the favor, but that never really gets clarified or addressed.
Well, before SmackDown goes off the air, Punk does go, but that's not the favor I'm owed. So the favor that he's been holding over Heyman and Reigns, what we all thought was going to be the WrestleMania main event, is not actually it. So what is this favor?
It's got to have deep storyline repercussions. Like, he is like a manipulative character. He's somebody who's going to use it for more than just a WrestleMania main event, right? It's got to be something involving Heyman. It's got to be something involving Heyman and Roman and potentially tearing them apart. Or he'll use it in order to further his career and get a title shot of some description.
Yeah, so the two in my mind, the title shot option, but then I doubt myself and think, well, does Heyman have that power in kayfabe that he could grant CM Punk a title shot anymore?
But no. in the real world, it's kind of understood that Heyman he's got Paul Levesque's ear, so it's one of those where it wouldn't be too much of a stretch, I think, in kayfabe to be like, hey, Paul,
can you give Punk a title shot, please?
I kind of made a big promise.
And the second one that in my head, and I think this is the more likely one, is that Paul Heyman will not be walking down the ramp at WrestleMania with Roman. the favor will be that he walks to the ring with CM Punk, and I think that's what it's going to be, to get into the mind games of Roman Reigns without his wise man at his side. Who is Roman Reigns in a main event of WrestleMania?
Well, we've seen it a lot, but it's the big dog. Yeah, it's Roman Reigns who gets booed if there's no Heyman there.
Exactly,
it's not going to happen.
There was a big dog reference on SmackDown last night as well. Punk calls Roman the big dog, and Reigns sort of kind of laughs it off a little bit. I really enjoyed the segment.
Flashbacks to the Baron Corbin dog food segments.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, this is now main eventing WrestleMania Night 1. And there's been a little bit of talk online that it maybe doesn't deserve that main event spot because, one, it's not for a world title. It's been kind of not thrown together, but it doesn't feel as natural as some of the other feuds, such as the women's world title match. You've got Io Sky, you've got Bianca Belair, you've got Rhea Ripley in there.
Probably has the most organic build of anything on the card right now.
It does. And as well, it has a Royal Rumble winner in there.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. Sorry, Elimination Chamber winner. Yeah. You kind of want to keep those stipulations and those importance off those stipulations up. It's bad enough. They've already promised the main event of WrestleMania to a Rumble winner, and Charlotte's not in that spot. You don't have it in Jey Uso either.
There's 2 nights, and there's as we all know, there's 9 main events per night. So like you essentially the word main event doesn't really mean, or the phrase main event doesn't really mean anything anymore.
Every match is main.
I think that a title should always go on last, but when you look at comparative star power, I can understand why they've done this.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I'm like chuffed and over the moon with it, but at the same time, it's going to be a hell of a match.
Yes.
I would prefer titles go on last, but I guess in theory, we are getting Cody versus Cena, probably main eventing night 2. You know, I say probably.
It's going to be the main event at night 2. We're going to get the title.
So we are going to get a title in the main event, but then at the same time, as we're saying, the women's match has the most organic build, so it would
feel more natural to be put in that spot. But staying with WrestleMania week, a couple days before WrestleMania, it is of course GCW Bloodsport, Josh Barnett's Bloodsport. Josh Barnett taking to social media to announce that Pete Dunne will be facing Timothy Thatcher at the show. Pete was announced recently for it alongside Natalya and Charlie Dempsey. We've got some WWE stars on there. It was announced earlier this week though that Natalya would be facing Mio Yamashita. It's going to be a massive indie event. This one is like one of the ones that everyone looks forward to every single year. I can't wait to see what Pete Dunne does in this match.
It's going to be unreal, but I think that it's interesting just to look at WWE taking part in the wider element of WrestleMania week. I guess now it's like, well, we've brought all of this here. This has become a thing because of Mania, so let's go and get involved with it.
Let's get involved. I welcome it. I want to see more of this.
Until I see, like, I don't know, like Titus O'Neil turning up at Kaiju Big Battle, I'm not going to be bothered.
Someone
I want it to slide all the way down the ramp as well.
Imagine Titus World slide into Kaiju Big Battle. We need that. One other show that I think we definitely need is NXT and TNA crossover there during that week. But we've got some from last night's TNA TV taping. So a little bit of a spoiler warning for some upcoming TNA tapings. Last night, we saw Ethan Page make his TNA return, where he sort of confronted Joe Hendry, and it's set up that it's going to be Joe Hendry defending his TNA World Championship against Ethan Page and Frankie Kazarian at TNA Rebellion. Page previously had a run there.
He had a fairly strong run with Josh Alexander as the North. They went on a bit of a tear there. Josh Alexander, of course, now on the other side of the fence. But essentially, Ethan Page is a big enough name where I think bringing him back into the company. It feels like a very turbulent time right now in TNA in the midst of this sort of partnership that's evolving piece by piece. But at the same time, I think that he just works in this position, right? Especially up there against Hendry. It bleeds some storylines nicely together. It gives NXT viewers more of a reason to go and check out TNA again. And Ethan Page, having come from TNA, you think is going to want to kind of have some big statement moments there in this matchup. And Kazarian is just going to kill it.
Kazarian's a veteran.
Kazarian's just there to add like the little bit of cherry on top.
A little bit of spice on there. Hey, you want this match? Hey,
which
you can
is
have
a
Kazarian
mental thing to say because it's Kazarian, but he's just the cherry on top, isn't he?
Well, I'm looking forward to that one. TNA Rebellion, that big triple threat main event. But looking forward to next week. Ho, ho, ho. We have confirmation that Rey Fenix is going to be debuting on SmackDown. It was announced in the vignettes that we've been seeing with the lightning and the masked man running about that we've not been able to identify at all based on the tattoos.
Definitely
and the
not
ring
last
gear.
week and the close-ups of the mask and the posing and everything and all of the tattoos.
Well, last night's vignette, we saw more posing, more tattoos, and a close-up of actually Rey Fenix. We actually saw him properly, in full. We saw the man and the name, Rey Fenix.
And then Wade Barrett said it, so you know it's happening.
It is happening. It's happening next week in Chicago, Illinois. The big things the takeaway from this is he's getting to keep his name. I thought they would change it slightly. I thought we'd be getting just Phoenix, so it's Penta and Phoenix. And then the other side of things, they actually acknowledge that it's Penta's brother.
Yeah, so they mentioned the world famous Lucha Bros. They mentioned that he's Penta's brother, and at the same time, I'm not really surprised at all. Penta is Penta. Ever since he stopped being Pentagon Junior, Pentagon Dark, it became Penta L0M, Penta L0 Miedo.
Penta.
It's just Penta, right? So Penta makes sense to just be Penta to me. But like Rey Fenix, you're gonna want to keep. You're gonna want to keep as many names as you can if you're taking them from AEW, right?
That's you do.
That feels like what they're gonna do. It's just like, keep the name. Because then you're here now.
The other worry was on the Rey thing. They've already got a masked Rey. I thought they would force him to change it just to stop
not his first name though. Rey means king.
It's king. It's king. Right. Very quickly before we wrap things up. Where does he fit in at WrestleMania? Because he's debuting before WrestleMania. Does he get a spot on the show itself? We're 3 weeks away. When he debuts, it will be 2 weeks away from the main show. Do you throw him into that US title mix that we've seen with Jacob Fatu, Braun Strowman, and LA Knight?
Potentially. They like a big scramble for a belt.
They do.
Obviously, traditionally we'd get like an IC ladder scramble with about 8 people.
Yep.
So I think something like that, we would see Rey Fenix definitely make a statement arrival. Whether or not he just comes in and usurps everybody, that would be a huge moment. Especially with Jacob sort of on a tear, turning up last night to just go after Braun again. But it's sort of, I think he would surely slot nicely into
that picture.
Keep him about there, let him kind of get over with the crowd organically, let him cook, then push him up the card before you eventually bring them back together and have them run roughshod over the tag division.
My vision in my head is if you've got Penta challenging for the IC title at WrestleMania, you've got Phoenix challenging for the US title at Mania, you get a moment with both of them with the belts.
Yeah.
It'd be a cool sight to see, but that is all we've got.
Make those the new tag belts.
Make them, you add a new Intercontinental United States Tag Team title.
So United States Continental.
That rolls off the tongue, that one. Anyway, that is all we've got for just now. If there's any more wrestling news, we'll be back later on today. Enjoy your Saturday.